Good evening. Mr. President Pascal Couchepin, President of the Swiss Confederation and Federal Council,
Bundespräsident der Schweizer Eidgenossenschaft und Innenminister,
Madame Condoleezza Rice,
Frau
Secretary
Condoleezza
of
Rice,
State of the United States,
amerikanische Außenministerin,
distinguished heads of state,
verehrte Staats- und Regierungschefs, Exzellenzen,
ladies and gentlemen,
meine Damen und Herren,
members and friends,
Mitglieder und Freunde.
to the 38th
Ein Willkommen an der 38. Jahrestagung der Mitglieder und Teilnehmer des Weltwirtschaftsforums.
A very cordial welcome,
Ein sehr herzliches Willkommen.
particularly to you.
Ganz besonders gilt dieses Willkommen Ihnen, den Neuen, an unserem Forum. Sie wollen wir in die Davoser Familie eingliedern.
You, the newcomers,
Und ich möchte,
to stand up
dass
for
Sie,
1 second
die
so
Neuen,
we can recognize you, greet you and take care of you. A special thank you to you, our members, for your loyalty, our 1,000 members for your loyalty. A thank you to the members of our foundation board, to the co-chairs, whom I will have the pleasure to introduce later, and to our partners who provide us with strategic advice and support. A thank you to all the non-business participants, our constituents, the representatives of governments, academia, media, NGOs, trade unions, young global leaders, social entrepreneurs. Thank you for your participation and for your cooperation. We are 2,500 participants here. So the question can be asked, what brings us together? And I think there are two unique features with this annual meeting. The first is to have, at the beginning of the year, an opportunity to look at all the challenges on the global agenda in an integrated, interdisciplinary way. And second, to do so as a true multi-stakeholder community, because we know the challenges today in the world cannot be met alone by governments, nor alone by business, nor alone by civil society. And this brings us to our theme of this meeting. It's the power of collaborative innovation. We need more collaboration in the world. We need more creativity and more innovations in the world. The world is changing. We have to look for solutions outside the old patterns, the old processes, the old institutions, and the old systems. I know that this year the mood may be different from last year. But we do not want to fall into doom and gloom. We do not want to replace exuberant optimism by irrational pessimism. We are here entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs know leadership means to master a crisis, and even during a crisis, to look at opportunities, and the world is full of opportunities. Just talk to the young global leaders here, just talk to the technological pioneers whom we have among us. I want to take you as a demonstration for the application of our motto, the power of collaborative innovation. Because the program of this annual meeting was designed with the input of at least 1,000 of our members and experts. It was prepared by numerous task forces, work streams, a powerful demonstration of the theme. But second, we wanted to integrate also mainstream into the preparation of our meeting. And what we did, we asked the people on the street via YouTube, what is your question to the audience here in Davos? Over 2 million people loaded down the request. Many responses which we got. Let's just see some of the reactions and what people expect from us.
It's a big question. It's not easy.
So the Davos question has been asked.
Hello, Davos people.
The Davos question.
Davos question.
Davos Switzerland.
Hi, Davos dudes.
Today I would like to mention this Davos question.
The Davos question.
I'd like to answer
The Davos question.
Davos question.
I'm replying to the Davos question.
What one thing
Do you think
that countries,
companies, or individuals must do
to make the world
a better place in 2008?
There's different countries, different companies, and different individuals. Something like about 6 billion or something, 6 billion with a B. This is going to be difficult because everyone's going to have different answers. Loads of different answers because everyone got their own individual perspective of how they see things and how they see the world.
we need to find a way to stop the poverty rate from going up and make it go down.
Why does our world not have a safe blood supply?
Covering the globe with high-speed two-way. That's where we gotta go.
Invest in kids. Water shortage will be a key challenge facing the world in the first half of the 21st century.
by investing in renewable energy, perhaps we can save many of the species that are dying because of the impact we cause to the environment. But more importantly, we will also avoid struggles and war. And is that not what we want for our children? A world in which we can work together in peace?
As a writer, as an MB, I think that everybody in the world is committed to improve the state of the world.
We have to be able to communicate the best that we can from generation to generation and build upon the past and improve upon the past.
Try to open your mind to what other people are saying and let's share our ideas and let's progress.
That's what the world expects from us. Now, another application of our theme, the power of collaborative innovation, is Welcome, the World Electronic Community, the new electronic platform which we are presenting at this annual meeting, which will allow continuous, easy, safe, secured interaction among the world's leaders. Now, all this interaction has to take place inside a framework of common values. And I think we are all assembled here having one commitment, not only to be concerned about the state of the world, and this evening we will look at many of the challenges, but also committed to improve the state of the world, to use our positive energy to make this world a better place. In this respect, we also need a business philosophy which corresponds to the 21st century. And we will talk during this meeting very intensively about corporate global citizenship. The need that big corporations engage into the solution of the macro issues which our world is facing. Climate change, water shortage, terrorism, and I could go on and on. So I have two wishes for each of you during this meeting. The first one is use your energy to make the power of collaborative innovation work. And second, be good ambassadors of global corporate citizenship. I wish you all a very good meeting, and I have now the pleasure to welcome the President of the Swiss Confederation, Pascal Couchepin.
Monsieur le Président, Excellences,
Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for me on behalf of the Swiss government to open this year's annual meeting of the World Economic Forum here in Davos. For more than 30 years, the Forum has brought together an impressive number of figures from the worlds of politics, business and culture in the broadest sense, and from what has recently become known as civil society. When we look back at the ideas that have characterized this period, Davos will stand out as an important place where themes, issues, draft solutions and sometimes even solutions have emerged. And it would also not fail to be noted that the World Economic Forum was flexible to the point that while not integrating the dissenters, it at least made room for them at the parallel event of the Open Forum. The Davos Forum 2008 is opening under a climate of economic uncertainty. Might the subprime loans crisis and the US housing market trigger in successive waves a reduction in global economic growth or even recession in certain regions? For several years now, we have seen with some satisfaction that progress in world economic growth was not based entirely on one single motor, that of the US economy, but on several motors, particularly those in Asia. And I hope that in the next few months this optimistic view of globalization will in fact be confirmed. Let us hope that Davos can contribute to a critical analysis of what has led to these difficulties. Let us also hope that Davos can contribute to bringing about the prospect or create the resolve to prevent such excesses in the future. This year's meeting is dedicated to the theme of the power of collaborative innovation. It is sufficiently broad to not immediately lead to controversy, and it's also sufficiently precise to be thought-provoking. The Swiss government has functioned since 1848 on the model of a directory or executive council. In other words, on the model of innovative collaboration. And it is a unique case. Sometimes I say with a smile that it is the only example of a successful Soviet. We welcome the choice of this year's meeting, even if critical and, of course, unfair observers do not credit the Swiss government with the capacity for dynamic innovation. However, executive councils, directories which work well, do not have as their primary goal the floating of or the achievement of revolutionary visions. They aim instead for progress through continuity. They are more likely the product of a way of thinking inspired by Montesquieu than by the lyricism of Saint-Just and the revolutionaries. That, however, does not prevent the results of executive councils that operate on the basis of innovative collaboration from being compared rather easily with those of other forms of government. Of course, this year's theme covers far more than forms of government. You call for collaboration between people and between social and intellectual disciplines. And you are right. Each time a nation or the whole of the international community has sought to resolve a problem by isolating it from its context, failure has been inevitable. Or rather, the solution to one problem has often led to others that were even more complex and more difficult to resolve. Some see in this process an inevitability of human action. But we do not believe that. It must be possible, perhaps by taking a little more time, to provide a differentiated response to complex problems. In the field of the environment, we have no other choice. It's only through innovative collaboration between science, business and politics, and by integrating ethical considerations, that we shall manage to find solutions. Again, it will be necessary in the course of these discussions for all views to be heard before decisions are taken, including those of the most critical and the least inclined to this kind of consensus. If the leaders of the great religious traditions call for peace and harmony, the reality is that we are not shielded from a conflict of civilization. In order to avoid it, there is a need for interdisciplinarity. History and linguistics, theology and social analysis must be part of any effective dialogue. Intelligence alone is not enough. There must also be a desire for peace. But the desire for peace without a real knowledge of the other can rapidly end in disillusion and frustration. Great spiritual traditions must also be open to science that reflects our current view of reality. Science, for its part, knows that its vision of reality is only the vision which applies today. Arrogance is not appropriate, it's not admissible. In short, no one doubts the power of innovative collaboration. And yet, as the French philosopher Blaise Pascal once said, at the end of every truth, one must add what one remembers of the opposite truth. In other words, the power of creative innovation does not release the individual from his or her responsibility. How many networks today really only dilute responsibilities rather than producing courageously something new? And it's perhaps one of the clearest lessons of the current financial crisis. We believed we had known how to spread the risk. In fact, we've only diluted and watered down responsibility. Worse still, networks serve to shelter terrorist or criminal activities, and their strength is to be capable of integrating on the fringes of the organization naive individuals or useful idiots, to use a term coined by a revolutionary from the past. And so it's now time, while recalling the power of creative collaboration, to remind ourselves of the need for courage and individual responsibility. The media evolution has a tendency to favor those who try to blend into networks to escape their true responsibilities. They play on the mirror effect. They say, I'm like you with my weaknesses and my faults. And if you criticize me, it's criticizing yourself. Public debate is distorted because it no longer is concerned by what is expected of a company director or a politician, that a person takes an informed decision and bears the consequences. In this region here of the Graubünden at the turn of the 20th century, a thinker wrote a hymn to the upright man, the responsible individual. The heritage of Nietzsche was then perverted, corrupted, distorted by criminals, Nazis and others. And yet Nietzsche, if well read and interpreted, is still relevant today. The power of creative innovation is also the capacity to hear what is said by a voice like that. I wish you all a fascinating and very fruitful annual meeting in Davos 2008.